The world of Westeros is officially expanding once again. After House of the Dragon reignited interest in George R.R. Martin's universe, HBO is taking fans further back in time with A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. This new series is based on Martin's beloved tales of Dunk and Egg novellas and adapts the first story, The Hedge Knight, into a 6-episode season. Set about a century before Game of Thrones, this story shifts focus away from thrones and dragons, and instead follows the lives of the small folk caught in the shadow of power. And with the series finally arriving, fans are eager to know one big thing first. Who is playing who? Let's break down the main cast right away, and then dive into what this series is really about. At the heart of the story is Peter Claffey as Ser Duncan the Tall, better known as Dunk. He is a towering, kind-hearted hedge knight with little money, no famous lineage, and an oversized sense of honor. Claffey's Dunk is not polished or strategic like later Westerosi knights. He is learning as he goes, often making mistakes, but always trying to do the right thing. Playing opposite him is Dexter Saul Ansel as Egg, Dunk's sharp-tongued and clever young squire. Egg may look like an ordinary boy, but he is hiding a dangerous secret. He is actually Aegon Targaryen, a royal prince traveling incognito. Their mentor-student dynamic forms the emotional backbone of the series. One of the central antagonists is Finn Bennett as Prince Aerion Targaryen, also known as Aerion Brightflame. Arrogant, cruel, and dangerously entitled, Aerion embodies the worst excesses of Targaryen power. His conflict with Dunk drives much of the tension in the story. Daniel Ings appears as Sir Lionel Baratheon, known as the Laughing Storm. He is bold, loud, and fiercely honorable, making him one of the most memorable knights in the tournament setting. His presence adds both humor and weight to the political undercurrents of the series. Sam Spruell plays Prince Maekar Targaryen, Aerion's father. Maekar is stern, battle-hardened, and deeply conflicted, caught between duty to the crown and concern over his volatile son. Bertie Carvel portrays Baelor Targaryen, brother to Maekar and heir to King Daeron II. Calm, intelligent, and respected, Baelor represents the kind of ruler Westeros desperately needs, making his involvement in the story especially important. Tamsin Crawford stars as Tansel, a traveling puppeteer who becomes Dunk's love interest. She represents the vulnerable small folk of Westeros, and her mistreatment becomes the spark that pulls Dunk into dangerous political territory. Edward Ashley plays Sir Stefan Fossaway, a knight caught between loyalty and pride, while Sean Thomas appears as Raymond Fossaway, his cousin and squire. Their subplot adds depth to the tournament drama. Henry Ashton takes on the role of Daeron Targaryen, another prince whose quiet intelligence contrasts sharply with Aerion's brutality. Yusef Kirkor plays Steely Pate, a blacksmith whose practical worldview grounds the story, while Daniel Monks appears as Ser Manfred Dondarrion, adding to the growing web of knights circling the tournament. Tom Vaughan Lawler portrays Plummer, the steward of Ashford, and Danny Webb appears as Sir Arlen of Pennytree, the deceased knight whose armor and identity Dunk takes on to enter the tournament, setting the entire story in motion. Now that the cast is clear, let's talk about what makes this series different. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is not about saving the world. It is about survival, honor, and moral choices in a deeply unfair system. The story unfolds in a time when the Targaryens still rule. Dragons are only just fading into memory, and power is exercised casually by those born into it. Unlike Game of Thrones, which focuses on sprawling wars and political schemes, this series stays intimate. Tournaments, roadside inns, traveling performers, and whispered threats replace massive battles. The danger feels personal because it is. The series is directed by Sarah Adina Smith and Owen Harris, with George R.R. Martin heavily involved as a writer and executive producer. That involvement has reassured fans that this adaptation will remain faithful in tone and spirit to the source material. If Game of Thrones showed what power looks like at the top, and House of the Dragon explored how it corrodes families, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms asks a simpler question. What does honor mean when you have nothing? A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms brings Westeros back to its roots, with grounded characters, moral tension, and a cast built for storytelling rather than spectacle. With Dunk and Egg at its core, this series could become one of the most heartfelt entries in the franchise. Share your thoughts below, and follow for more deep dives into Westeros and beyond.